Heard a lot of compliments about that, so we don't want to have anyone who wants a chance to have the mic not to have something to say. And I know Coach DeShepard, the assistant coach for the 93-94 ball team, has some notes for reading.
Okay. This is a letter from Coach Bullock. Good evening, Wildcat fans. It is with great pride that I have the opportunity to introduce the 94 football team as Wall of Fame inductees. The 94 team was a coach's dream, lined with exceptional athletes who were not only outstanding football players, but who also excelled on the basketball court, the wrestling mat, and on the track. The depth of this team was unmatched. It included many second-string and special team players who would have been stars on dozens of other teams across the state. Many members of the 94 team were leaders and key contributors to the 93 team that finished the regular season unbeaten and as a playoff qualifier for the first time in a decade. As the 94 season arrived, there were high expectations that were met head-on by this group of outstanding young men. At one stretch, this group was responsible for winning 15 regular season games in a row and was being recognized as a contender for small school football glory in the state of Illinois. The team featured a punishing running attack where there were no stars, only playmakers. On any given play, any one of the 5 or 6 players was capable of taking it to the distance. If opponents keyed on the run, the passing game always seemed to come through with a back-breaking screen play or a play-action pass. The 94 team made it very easy for themselves at time in the kicking and return games. The team enjoyed long punts and kick returns with regularity, while the kicking teams made pinning their opponents deep in their own territory a common practice. These teams made numerous big plays, including a punt return for a touchdown and the 46-8 opening playoff win against Weathersfield. To the block punt for a touchdown that won the second game 6-0 against Ashland Franklin Center. As the offense and special teams were ultra effective, it was the defense that was the cornerstone of this team. As the goal in most sports is to score more points than your opponent, this team preferred to just play things safe and just not allow opponents to score. They riddled West Central Illinois in shutouts over the best part of 2 seasons. They were fast, athletic, and relentless. In the game of football, 11 players to the ball on defense is a goal. To this team, it was just the way they did business. Big hits, gang tackling, and a whole lot of forced turnovers made this unit feared by each team they encountered. I was proud of this group in 1994, and as I watched them grow, persevere, and believe that they could become one of the best small school football teams in the state. I am proud tonight to know that because of this honor, our experience will forever be remembered. Congratulations, Coach Bullock. Notes, not as long. It was a great honor to have worked with these fine young men. Their dedication, hard work ethics, and perseverance has proved them well in their careers. I talked with many respectful coaches throughout the state, praising this team as a unit, being one of the hardest hitting and over fundamental proven teams. Their tackling form and pursuit ability and offensive cohesiveness, as well as the special teams, is still among the best I have witnessed in Illinois football. It is great to reminisce about glory days. I'd like to take this time to thank the fans, the cheerleaders, the parents of these fine young men, Galva High School, Coach Bullock, and the football team of 1994 for all the great memories.
Thank you. Those of you who had sons on that football team, remember at the end of the ball games when they'd gather around Coach Bullock, and if you were to hear those talks, those were life's lessons. I mean, they were tremendous. They were inspiring to the parents, let alone the players. They were really something. Bill Hay, come up here and say something about that 64 basketball team, will you? A few words. I think Bill will inject a little humor. I enjoyed those remarks, but I want to ask him some questions.
First has to get up.
I have to get up, that's all
Well,
right.
yes, you know, that's 50 years ago. You remind me they had their 50-year class reunion now, but Bill's the, I think, sole senior here. You might tell him a little bit about this team are about Rich Miller and Rick Appel, who are no longer with us, and for Coach Van, what he meant to you.
Well, we were talking about that earlier, Keith and I were, and one of the things about Coach Vanderson, you were going to be in shape. You may never win a ball game, but you were going to be in the best shape of any team on the floor. And he worked us hard. We were very lucky. We had some really good ball players. Rich Miller was an exceptional ball player. Without Rich, we'd have never had anywhere close to the success that we had. And that was in 2 years. That was the 62-63 team, the 63-64 team. So all the guys in there were super achievers. I'm sorry that there weren't more guys back tonight. I'd like to have seen some of them. Of course, Rich and Rick and Lowell were with us. I would like to have seen some more guys. I don't know that I really have anything humorous to say. I mean, just walking up here is probably fun enough. Thank you to everyone.
Thank you, Will. One thing I remember, I was a freshman that year, and those fellows, of course, were my next set of idols that I talked about last year, and they were really something. But Coach Vandersnick was indeed what he just said. But also, I remember their fast breaks. He said, shoot the ball, if he could do it. But they'd run a sideline fast break, the ball never touched the floor, often. They'd get that thing out and they'd be shooting the layup. And Bill mentioned too, of course, he was fortunate to be a junior member of the undefeated team that lost up in Sherrard, Lowell. They were quite the team. They were really good, and I think set a good example for those who came after them. Excellent team. Dale, you wanted to say something about this team? It's good. Of course, Dale coached about every sport. Knew the levels. I mean, he had me, he had my kids, he had everybody, all the girls.
Yeah, I'd like to just say a few words about Coach Vandersick myself. A little different situation. I'm looking at it from a different perspective than Bill and Jerry and John and all the rest of the guys that worked for him and worked hard. You're right about passing the ball down the floor and not hitting and letting the ball hit the floor, because we had different patterns and we worked on to get that. My frost soft team at that time was 25 strong. And then they had the varsity team. There were a lot of kids out for basketball. We had a good year, lots and lots of talent. The part with Vandersnick, let me tell you, you're seeing his side of the story. You're going to see my side of the story. These kids love to party. And Coach Vandersnick was a stickler for rules. I know when we first came up, no hair above the eyebrow. I don't have that problem. No hair on the eyebrows, nothing on the collar. You had lots of rules to attend to, and you had hours that you had to be home. And more than once, and you guys never knew this, but more than once, I'd get a call from Coach Vandersnick, okay, Collis, let's go. Out the door I'd go, 11 o'clock at night, 10:30 at night. I know where all your girlfriends live, because we would stop in front, down the block, and see, okay, is Rick going home? Bill going home? Jerry going home? We wanted to know where these guys were at. And we had a ball game that took place, and we were playing over in the old gym, and there were bleachers that came out on one side. We get up at the top, and he had one of the boys, I won't mention the name, that got kicked off for the night. He couldn't play ball. He'd broken one of the rules. And he kept elbowing me. Coach, so I put him in, so I put him in. I said, ooh, I'm out of this. I'm not, you're doing, but you're doing fine. You're still ahead. He didn't want to lose the ball game, but this boy was a good ball player. And when that happened, he never did put him in, and we won the ball game. But during that game, he got so excited that when he sat down, and you guys that remember the old gym, some of you young kids don't remember that, but over in the middle school, I call it middle school, yeah. There's a stage over there, and you have stairs that come to the right side and the left side. He sat down, and I looked around to see him. He wasn't there. The chair had the leg setting off to the side. Down he went. I thought maybe he broke his neck, but he got back up, came back up the stairs, and he was there. So we had a lot of fun, and the guys
did work hard, and they were a good team, lots of talent. He had asked me to go with him to Batavia, which he went after he went. He had good ball players up there. He had a guy by the name of Ken Anderson that played basketball for him, that went to Augustana on a basketball scholarship, became a pro National League football player for, I think, 13 years.
Cincinnati.
Something like that. He had another kid up there, and he had me look at him. He was a big sucker. Dan Issel was his name. He played ball for Colorado, I believe he played. Kentucky? Well, professional ball, I think.
Yeah, Denver Nuggets.
Denver Nuggets.
Yeah.
Right. So anyway, and the interesting thing about small towns at that time, and the sisters we had, around here we had Cheryl Hanks from Quincy, we had Dottie Hawkins from Pekin, we had Ernie Cavisto from Aurora, we had John Thiel from Galesburg, and around here in small towns, which were basically in the same bracket, we had coaches like Don Vandersteel. And we had Jerry Heiss from Lafayette. And you guys can probably name some more of them around here that were just outstanding coaches and went on to do good things. These guys, I know, like some of them around here have gone on. John was a manager. The interesting thing about him, he won the state tournament with his junior high basketball team, right, John?
Yes.
And the most, I think that's great. And he did an outstanding job at Morton, correct?
Metamora.
Metamora, sorry about that. My memory, when you get old, things go. I had a basketball team, the highest that ever got chips. Over a period of time, I don't know what kind of coach John was, I'm assuming he was an excellent coach. And we had a Dave LePan that went here. And we had, you've got coaches like Paul Libra that we never know. Are they a holler coach? Are they a finesse coach? What kind of coach are they? You know, from Vandersteel, I think I picked up a few of my traits of being a little bit of a holler coach. And then I had to, over a period of time, a long time, I kind of tapered off on that end of it, but everybody has their own little techniques of trying to get the kids motivated to get them up. And Vandersteel was one of the things we get in the ball game, things got excited, and that's the interesting thing about it. When we had ball games, that gym over there was so packed, you couldn't hear anything. It was yelling and screaming, so he devised a thing, and you guys will remember this. We had to throw a towel up in the air. He'd wave a towel to try to get the attention of the captain out on the floor so he could call timeout, you know, or whatever he wanted to tell you. And you'd see that flag waving over there, and most of the guys didn't pay attention to it anyway, but that's what he did. Congratulations to all of you guys, not just this team, but everybody else that got nominated. You've all done a great job. I've had at least known most of you a little bit. And Al went from 5-step to 7-step, and I remember that track. So, and he got to state. Isn't it true when you got to state that we used to have track meets, and the graduation was on the night of the track meet, the state track meet. In order to get back, didn't you get have somebody fly you down there?
Wayne Nordstrom flew
Wayne
down.
Nordstrom, okay, the flying preacher. He flew him down. I remember. Thank you, Keith.
These ball players remember too, when Coach Vandersteel would get particularly agitated, the eyes would be going like this, wouldn't it? He'd blink so fast that you couldn't see anything.
Was that your drink?
Yeah, it was. Remember that too?
No, I didn't.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I was expecting. Thanks. Coach Ball, you want to say anything? Come on up. He's got a name tough to pronounce than mine, so I won't even try. Nobody has to say anything, but anyone can, so here you are.
Coach Ball.
Thank you. I'm going to start out with how I came to Galva. I was writing a cover with two Hall of Famers, Dave LePan and Brad Hulick, and they told me that, you know, you want to apply for this girls' job. And I'm like, oh, okay, maybe, you know. And we were going to Rich Fall Camp, so there were 3 Hall of Famers that I had contact with right there. And I remember in the fall they had ad in the paper for the girls' job. I said, oh, I'll apply for it. And I got it. I was lucky to get that, and I came over, and the second year is the year we won the regional, and people have been telling me, share a moment that you had with the girls. Well, it was the regional championship game, and one of the ugliest halves of basketball I've ever seen. It was 2-1 after the first quarter, 9-7 at the half, and I told myself, you got to think of something positive when you go in the locker room. And walked in the locker room and said, girls, we're doing a really good job on defense. We've only got up 9. And I think it was Kelly Volker looked at me and goes, Coach, we've only scored 7. The laughter that happened right after that, I think, is what allowed us to relax and go out, and we ended up winning. I don't remember how much we won by, but the whole year, the girls, that was their goal, win the regional. That's what they wanted to do. And to see the excitement when the buzzer went off, all of them run on the floor, and how happy they were, that was really special to me. And how much adversary they had to overcome because of nobody playing in the position they should have been because somebody was always hurt or sick.